Oh, I've got someone on me.
I found like a completely unlooted.
Oh my god, what a shot! Welcome back to another episode with Zeus Gaming UK. I hope you guys are well, and this is a little bit different from me. We're gonna look at a video talking about an upcoming release. We're gonna talk about the new upcoming Hyperspace game. I would like to thank Ubisoft for getting me involved with their closed beta. And as always, guys, you can check me out playing this game as well as many others on Twitch, and that link's going to be appearing down below right this very second. If I'm not available or streaming right now, then please come through my Discord, get involved with myself and my community. Again, that will be down below in the description for you guys to see. And let's chat, let's talk through this game, share your opinions, let me know what you think, and let's talk that through. So, guys, welcome to Hyperspace. This game is something I am really excited about. The best way that I think that I can describe it is I am going to call it a mix between Apex meets Valorant meets Hunger Games meets the general battle royale kind of prowess. I've had a lot of fun playing with it, although I haven't been overly successful to start with. My mad clip, or my best clip, the best thing I've done so far, you saw at the beginning, is kind of all downhill from here. But at the moment, here we are in the loading screen. So this is us just in the kind of practice area when you very first load into the game. Now, I certainly didn't spend enough time doing this, and I would implore you to spend some time going through the variations of guns and bits and pieces that you can use and the combinations and whatnot while you're here. Get your head around them. There's only around about 8 or 9 guns in total. It doesn't take too long to kind of get them down, and we're going to go through them very briefly. One thing that is worth mentioning that I have really enjoyed about the concept of this game is you have the ability to fuse guns together. Now, fusing means when you find the exact same gun in a separate location, by holding down the relevant key, you can fuse them together up to 4 times to make an ultimate version of the gun. This makes its clip size, its damage, a whole variation of what's possible. It just improves the gun. It just makes it better. So much so that one of the snipers, when you fuse it twice, so you have the original and you fuse it a second time, it turns into a one-shot weapon. Some of my other observations are that I can most certainly see this game having a huge skill gap. And the reason why I mention it, why I think that, is when you're in the actual battle royale arena, the movement that you have with your character is just something else. The jumping as well as the sliding and movement is, well, you'll see. When we get onto the clips, you'll see what I mean. But I definitely think that's going to separate the varying levels, and some of the gunfights I've come up in, I've definitely noticed that is the way that you evade, and the amount of times I've been able to get out of a gunfight. So the importance of being really accurate and making sure that you land your shots with your opponent, because they can dip out, and there are all these villages and windows and little avenues and things that you can get down. So if you're not accurate, if you don't land those hits, you can get out of there pretty well. But I've loved it. I generally I'm struggling to find something about the game so far that I haven't enjoyed. And there is, as well, on top of everything we've mentioned, another really interesting angle, which is all about the abilities. So this is pretty hard to explain. So let me just show you some videos and I'll explain exactly what I mean. Deploy this and instantly put up a big resilient wall between you and your enemies. Get too close to this proximity mine, it will home in and unleash its devastating blast. This health boost will heal both you and your friends, so make sure you're keeping them close. Get somewhere fast, teleport lets you aim at a location and get there in a heartbeat. If you need to get away, use this, turn yourself into a ball and bounce off. This is going to ping the location of enemies for you and your squad. Leap high into the air, smash down at the floor and deal damage to any enemies. So here we are at a first look even of launching into the arena for the first time. You come down in these really interesting kind of like pods. and you've got an ability to kind of choose where you want to go. You can ping a location, you can agree with a location, and head there with your squad of 3. As you get, I'd say, 4/5 of the way down, like quite close to the bottom, you start to really slow down. You exit your pod, and by finding out the hard way, there is no fall damage. You land absolutely fine, and you're ready to start looting, and looting is what you need to get to straight away. The blue beams that you see here are indications of where people have landed. So while you're watching this content, let's start talking to you a little about the different guns that you're going to find as and when you land down. One of the most popular ones that I've definitely seen people use and come across and use heavily so far is the HEXFIRE. Now the HEXFIRE is like an LMG minigun variant. Big magazine rounds, lots of ammunition, lots of firepower, and a high rate of fire. Upgrading this weapon, and when I say upgrading, I'm talking about fusing, will increase the magazine size and the damage infliction stat. Next up is the Ripper. The Ripper is, I think it's my favourite if I'm honest. It is a basic AR which deals a good amount of damage, and the thing that I like about it the most is it really lacks any recoil. It's a bit of a laser. So like me, anybody that loved the ICR back in BO4, that was my jam, and this is something that reminds me of that, and it's kind of my go-to. Next up we have the RIOT one, which is a pistol. This is like a Desert Eagle pistol that deals a massive amount of damage per shot. Once you start fusing it and upgrading it, it actually increases the damage output even more. Next up, another pistol, the D-Tap. This is a starter pistol with not much real damage output. Upgrading this weapon does not really boost the damage as much, but it increases it a little bit. We now have the shotgun, and I'm really honest, not a fan. Not a fan of this at all. Prove me wrong, tell me I'm wrong with this. But before I go into that, I just want to talk about something you're seeing on the screen at the moment, and this is a really interesting concept that I enjoyed with this game. So when you die and you respawn in, you have the ability to go to one of these revive points where you select it and you notify your team that you want reviving. It's then down to your team whether they choose to come back and revive you. From what I see, this seems to have an unlimited amount of usage. You can do it as many times as you want, but it will only work until you get a complete squad wipe. Once all of your squad's been eliminated, that's it, you're done and you're out of the game. But one of the things that I really liked about this, and sorry for going off tangent with the guns a little bit here, but while you're kind of invisible, you can ping enemies still, which I found really clutch. So I was playing a game a little while ago. I had 2 of my team still alive, and actually I spent my time just pinging where the enemies were, and it worked quite well, and eventually they kind of res me. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. Let's get straight back into talking about the weapon. So we've got up to the shotgun, and I think I'd stopped talking at that point because I just really didn't like this gun at all. So this gun is designed like most shotguns for close combat, but I've just not got on with it so far. It's a standard pump shotgun, best for close range combat. It has a surprisingly large clip of 24 shells per mag, and as you fuse it and you upgrade it, it will increase the mag size as well as the damage. Now, the one I am the most excited about, and you see featured in my first clip, it is the Protocol V. It's the sniper rifle. And it has already been released as statistically, let me get my words right here, the most powerful gun on the game. Now, it's the most powerful gun from the get-go, but listen to this. Once you fuse it with one other, so I've got my first Protocol V, I find another on the floor, I fuse them together, it then becomes a one-shot at a certain distance. And that distance isn't like really close range. It's OP. I would definitely recommend that this is one of the guns you want in your arsenal. For me, I've been going for the Ripper and the Protocol V, but I've definitely seen a lot of people, and I've got into a lot of gunfights with the HEXFIRE. But I think that you could actually, if your aim's decent, I think that you could sponge hits from any of the other guns. ADS, get your target in sights, one pop them with the Protocol V and it's game over. So I think that's going to be the meta unless that gets some kind of nerf. Sorry, I keep getting distracted, guys. You can tell I get distracted if I'm talking about guns I love or guns I hate. Anything in the middle, I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so we now have the SALVO EPL. So now this is a grenade launcher. This weapon, like I said, grenade launcher that does not necessarily deal a lot of damage, but it's great at hitting multiple targets. So where have I used this most? When people like flee into a building or they try to hide and I've got this available, I whip it out, I launch them. Okay, let's be honest, I spam as hard as I can into that area and I hope for the best. Then we have probably the better area damage and we get into kind of like the plasma kind of range here. So the first one is the KOMODO. So this is a rocket launcher. This is a much more powerful explosive weapon that lets you fire a plasma rocket. The weapon deals a decent amount of damage and it can be upgraded or fused for even more damage. I've used this quite a bit myself so far, and when people get into gunfights, and because it's got like a degree of area splash, it's good. I like it. This is another one that I'd recommend. Last of all, we've got the oh my god, get your words out. SKYBREAKER. The SKYBREAKER is another rocket launcher. So this is actually even more powerful than the KOMODO that I've just mentioned. A single rocket deals 80 hit points of damage to its opponents. And on top of that, it has a area splash effect range as well. So yeah, there are some decent guns on this. And if I think about the game I play most at the moment, which is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, love the game, don't want to do it in disrespect or kind of bitch about it too much, but you've got like, what, 2 or 3 guns that people go to? With this already, 9 guns, a snip of what's available over there for a Battle Royale game, and I'm sure there's going to be many more added. And I've already got like 4 or 5 that actually, if I find them, I'm more than happy to use and try and do some damage with. So guys, that has been a slightly different take from me on the whole reveal, feedback, what do I think of a game. Haven't done one of these before, but do you know what? Hit me up in the comments, let me know what you think. If this is something that's working for you and you've enjoyed this, let me know and I'll keep them going. If you've not, oh yeah, I won't do them again.